video? Okay, no video. Okay.
We're here for a birthday party. Heather is here for Shannon's birthday. Time what's happening?
Thank you, Ariel. I love it. Wow, it's beautiful. Thank you, Ariel. Thank you.
We were in traffic and we had to ask her to hold it, and she actually did hold it, and Ray drove so fast to the nearest public place that we could find, and she actually did hold it, and she pottied. You pottied, right? It's very, yeah, you did a good job. So I feel like that was like a really great start to this Mother's Day. This morning, I got a text from my Tyler. It honestly made me cry because he doesn't always remember to say those things or greet me on my birthday and things like that. So, I mean, he's 11. I don't put any weight on him to do that, but when he does do it, I feel very, very happy. While on topic, this week I wanted to share a different kind of Mother's Day vlog, and it's specifically for stepmoms, and I wanted to get into that later in the clip and talk about self-care tips for stepmoms. I think it's going to be called 7 self-care tips for stepmoms. And did you know that the Sunday after Mother's Day is actually Stepmom Day? I didn't really know that until recently when I was watching Real Talk or whatever that show is with, oh my gosh, Adrienne Bailon. She talked about it. So yes, there is a Stepmom Day, and it's the Sunday after Mother's Day.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you.
Okay, so we were supposed to do a photo shoot, a mommy-daughter photo shoot, but it started raining really hard and it was not stopping. So I just dropped her and her nanny off at the museum, and I'm gonna finish up this vlog with my self-care tips for you guys. Here it comes. So I wanted to today, like I said, share some self-care tips as a stepmom. I have 7 to be exact for you today. I personally have been a stepchild, and I've been a child of divorce. I've had stepmoms, several. I've had a stepdad who was a very significant person in my life, a father figure, and I've had a few other father figures in my life. So I feel as though I have a very wide perspective on all aspects and all different sides as a stepchild looking at all of these adults in my life. I feel that I've seen every angle, and I feel as though it gives me a good perspective on how to handle certain situations, and also the healthiest way to be for your children. So for the purpose of this video, I definitely will not be sharing any kind of personal information or detailed information on the people in my life, because I would like to respect everyone's position. But I also do want to say that I will be completely transparent on my experiences and what I can tell you as my tips as a stepmom from my experience. So I'll be completely transparent on that note. And also, I would like to say, for the purpose of this video, I will be calling my son my stepson. I don't usually say stepson very much, but I will say it for this video so it's not confusing and you understand exactly what I'm talking about. So stepmom self-care tip number 1, let your husband set a tone you are comfortable with for your stepmom journey. And what that means is when you come into the picture, you are the new person within the family and you want to step into the dynamic not as pushy. You just kind of want to feel what the vibe is, and if the vibe says, my husband is protective of me from any kind of drama, my husband is cultivating a healthy relationship between my stepchild and I, and also my husband treats my stepchild extremely well. Those are all the 3 things that I looked at and I really picked up on with my husband. And so, you know, I felt very protected from any kind of drama. I felt like he was really supporting the relationship that I had with my stepson, and he also treated and loved his son very much, and I could see it in his actions. And so that made me feel very comfortable. It made me feel like I could have a future with this man, and it also really set the tone on how I, as a stepmom, should treat his child. And that's a really big thing. I don't think that a lot of people really think about that part, but the way you treat your children, other people will follow suit and treat your children that way or better. You know, you really set the tone in that relationship, and it's really up to your husband, who is the biological father, to set that kind of tone. So I felt like that was very important to look at and observe, and if you don't feel comfortable in that situation in any way, then that's a big red flag, and maybe you should not take part of this journey as a stepmom. Okay, so stepmom self-care tip number 2 is check yourself and check in with yourself. So for me, that means check yourself because you don't want to bring any kind of negativity into the situation. It's very easy to fall into the trap of being negative and even competitive. You know, you always want to be careful with that because there are children involved, and you always want to think about the children first. So really check yourself, make sure your intentions are always clean, and once again, put the children first. The other part of that is to check in with yourself, and that means really getting to know yourself first if you don't already, because confidence has a lot to do with being a good stepmom. So if you feel insecure in any way, it's really going to be tough, and you should really check in and support your soul, support your heart. What really helped for me was a lot of meditation, a lot of yoga. It's very important to really check in with yourself and make sure you're good as a person, because it's not easy to always put the children first. You know, it's not an easy task, so you really have to figure out if this journey, if you want to grow from this journey, or if you want to constantly fail, because a lot of challenges are thrown at you. And in order to grow, you need to face those challenges and meet those challenges and figure out what you need to do for yourself to grow as a person. Stepmom tip number 3 is build a new dynamic. So once again, you're stepping into a new family. You want to not forget the traditions of whatever your stepchild had previously, but to really assert yourself in building a new dynamic. And that means maybe building new memories, building I know for me and my
little family at the time. We traveled a lot, and a lot of moments were built from there. There are many times now as an older child that Tyler reminisces about things we did when he was younger, like maybe some things that I introduced him to, some moments that were just funny and that we'd reminisce about. And those are just little moments that you can build. It is very important to build a relationship with your stepchild, and also not just with your stepchild, but together as a whole, as a family. Stepmom self-care tip number 4 is to respect boundaries and set boundaries. So you want to respect the rules of the household, the other household, and you just generally want to be a respectful person, just like in any situation in life with people. And you want to have open lines of communication as much as possible. However, there will be times when that's not possible. Maybe in your situation it's not possible, so you must set boundaries. Sometimes you may have to go as far as not setting yourself up for any kind of emotional relationship, so you want to always keep it very business and cordial in the very least, so that your stepchildren don't see that there's any tension. However, kids are very smart. They will see it no matter what. So you should do your best to try and get to a good place. However, if it's not possible, you must set your boundaries, because boundaries set you up for healthy relationships. One thing I would like to share is the gray rock method, and if you do have a high conflict relationship with the other household, or if it's not, it's kind of in the gray area, the gray rock method is making yourself as uninteresting as possible, as uninteresting as a gray rock, hence the name gray rock method. So basically, again, keeping it unemotional, giving as little detail as possible, not going there in terms of, being friendly. Especially if you have tried over the years and it doesn't work, then the gray rock method is actually a really great method to use in order to keep it just business, cordial, and just about the kids. One more thing. I wanted to share some practical advice on the parents involved, because I've seen so much as a stepchild, and I think it's very important as adults who truly put our children first, to listen up to this piece of advice that I came across that I really, really enjoyed. It's practical, so you can put it into use right away. I will not eagerly take the negative stuff the child tells me about the other parent. Children in divorce play one parent against the other when they know they don't like each other. They endear themselves to each parent by carrying a certain amount of gossip back and forth. Children often have gripes about each parent, so be cautious in responding to what the child tells you. Do not pump the child for private information about the other household. So I thought that was very good practical advice for any kind of parent involved in a blended situation. Stepmom self-care tip number 5 is be empathetic to the mother of your stepchild. So if you have been blessed with an amazing mother of your stepchild who is confident, who's secure in her position, who doesn't feel threatened whatsoever, then you are in a very good place. Maybe you need to empathize here and there for certain situations, but you're good. Be grateful. However, if you are not in that kind of situation, and it's even to the point where it might be high conflict for you, I would like to throw in that instead of being angry about it, try and be as empathetic as possible. And I would like to insert a quote here from Blend, the book by Mashonda, and it says, When the walls between the biological mom and the stepmom seems impossible to break through, it is often the case that the bio mom hasn't let go of the covetousness and infatuation that comes with wanting a man or partner who is no longer hers. It will be impossible to blend your family if any of these feelings linger. If these feelings are not released, the woman is still bound emotionally. What's worse is that she will embed this energy into her child. The child might have an unexplained chip on his or her shoulder, animosity toward a step-parent and or parent, or a feeling of displacement within his own family. All because of feelings that are the mother's and have nothing to do with the child. Is this fair to the child? Is this fair to anyone involved? No. Your negative feelings, no matter how hard you try to mask them, will land on your child. I thought this was a great little piece from the Blend book because it really gives insight into the reason why you can't break through sometimes, and it's not really up to you, and it's on the other person's time. So don't stress over it. Just, if you can wait, just wait. Again, you're not responsible for the insecurities of another person. You can only do your best. I also understand that everybody has their own individual journey, and just to be patient with people in their journey as they navigate, just as you are. I just want to add in, especially have a big heart for your stepchild who is constantly trying to find their place, who's trying to constantly figure out what the right thing to do is. They don't really know, and it's hard for them to realize that this world is so open, there's no need to take sides, and which leads me to my 6th self-care tip. Stepmom self-care tip number 6 is to stay consistent to your stepchild no matter what. This is all about your stepchild's well-being. It should never be about your ego, and so I would like to share a little piece of my story. I was very heartbroken as an adult when I realized my stepdad and I would never see each other again or talk again because of the broken relationship with my mom. So that was very heartbreaking. It took me a very long time to heal. So if you are a step-parent and you've decided to commit to your stepchild, and you've even come to a place where you love your stepchild and your stepchild loves you, it's very, very, very important to stay consistent no matter what. Always be that consistent person in their life. It's very heartbreaking to not be that way. I've read some advice about disengaging from your stepchildren if need be, and to take a step back. I totally agree with that, but always stay consistent with the love that you have for them, and disengage with love if you need to. If times become rough and they've grown up and they feel as though they need to be a certain way, you've got to do what's necessary for you. And last stepmom self-care tip number 7 is do what you love, because when you do what you love, you get to know yourself better, you become a lighter person and happier person, and that is the kind of person that you want to give to everybody in your life, especially the people that you love, especially to your family and to your stepchild. So those are my 7 tips for today on being a stepmom. I know the journey can be a little tough sometimes, but I feel as though this journey is not meant for anybody. It's meant for strong women, and it's up to you to either meet the challenge and grow from it as a human, or to constantly fail and get the repeated struggles until you get it. You can be petty and stay in the same place, or you can grow. So choose to grow. I hope that this helps, and please share this with anybody that you think would benefit from this video. Share it with a stepmom who needs some self-care, love at this time. Love and light.
Beautiful, I think you're perfect.
Okay, Presto. Okay, Presto.